Well, it's 20 minutes after 8 here on Morning Live. The lawyer of the Mpianzi family say that they will be taking civil and criminal action against those implicated in the death of the 13-year-old Parktown Boys High school learner. Enock Mpianzi drowned while at a school camp at the Nyati Bush River Lodge 2 months ago. Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza Lesufi released a forensic report into Mpianzi's death this week, and it showed that there was negligence and recklessness on the part of educators and the camp. And joining us now via Skype is Mpianzi's lawyer, Levitt. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Mr. Levitt.
Good morning. Thank you.
Mr. Levitt, let's start with, the situation around why the release of the report was delayed. Did the family, in fact, object to that report being made public?
No, they did not object to the report be made public. What happened was that initially, when the MEC wanted to release the report, he realized that it did not have any contribution from the family, who were material, obviously, in the whole process. So he realized it was incomplete, and he made advances to us to get our contribution, and which we gave him during the course of this week. And that was on Monday, and on Wednesday we met again, and the final report was finished to us then.
Now, Mr. Levitt, you've described this report as harrowing. Please elaborate for us on the findings there.
Well, there's a number of findings of negligence and recklessness against an array of people, from the school, from members of the school governing body, against the Department of Education, and against Nyati itself. So a thorough investigation was undertaken. These damning findings have been made, and this report, together with our own investigations, will be utilized in taking legal action, both civil and criminal, against the perpetrators mentioned in this report.
Are there any significant discrepancies between your own report and the report that was released by the Department of Education in Gauteng?
No.
So would it be accurate to say, Mr. Levitt, that both the school and the lodge have lied about some of the incidents, the events surrounding the drowning before the report was released?
So in the report, it actually mentions that Nyati was not forthcoming or cooperative. We discussed in a meeting with MEC that certain versions by certain individuals, these individuals were strangers from the truth. And but these will be taken into account in regard to the civil and criminal action. There was a lot of non-cooperation by a number of individuals, and our investigation, because the MEC's investigation is now closed, our investigations will continue, and we will those people who failed to cooperate will be called to account and be requested to cooperate with us.
Who are those people who failed to cooperate thus far, Mr. Levitt?
Well, the main categories of people are in Nyati. They failed to respond to a number of correspondence from the attorneys for the MEC. There were a number of learners that failed to cooperate. This is not an indictment on the learners. That may be out of nervousness. It may be the parents worried about the legal action being taken and then becoming embroiled in the legal action. We just want to get to the bottom of this and to make everybody that's liable account for their conduct or lack of conduct in assisting in the matter. I can tell you this, that when you mentioned earlier on that it was harrowing, what was harrowing was actually sitting around the table with our client and the MEC, where my client had to listen to the hours and days leading up to the death of their child, which is any parent's worst nightmare, and hearing so many people being reckless and negligent and just treating the life of someone so cheaply. It was absolutely harrowing and extreme anguish at that meeting.
Now, Mr. Levitt, since the report has found negligence and recklessness, what exactly will you be hoping to charge the relevant parties involved in this particular situation with?
So charging obviously means with criminal conduct. So anyone involved in the negligent death of another human being, that's the definition of culpable homicide. And those will be the charges that will be laid against everybody that was involved in the negligent passing of Enock Mpianzi.
Do you know at this stage, Mr. Levitt, whether the Department of Education in Gauteng itself intends to take any legal steps against the school, the lodge, or anyone else involved?
So the recommendations in the report is that the school ought to take certain action against at least the educators over who they have jurisdiction. Whether or not they're going to take such action, I think the attorneys for the Board of Education would be better placed to answer that question.
So, Mr. Levitt, culpable homicide charges, who are these likely to be brought against?
Well, the findings are that the school, the members of the school, it would likely be the principal, and there are certain educators that were found to be negligent, including members of the school governing board. There's an array of people that were found to be contributory to the death of Enock Mpianzi.
And does the family intend suing the Department of Education for any monetary compensation, Mr. Levitt?
Yes, that will run concurrently. It will be the Gauteng Board of Education. It will be the school. It will likely be the school governing body or the individuals comprising of that body who were there at the outing at Nyati. It will be Nyati themselves. This was like a plane crash. It doesn't just happen with one incident. There was an array of absolute disgraceful conduct right from the beginning, where the school did not even have a proper list of who was going to be on the tour. Now, how does a school in 2020 not have a correct roster of who is coming on a tour? How is that even possible? How can that even be considered to be rational thought and responsible governing? It's absolutely not. It's disgraceful conduct on behalf of the school. And a lot of members of the school who were there took part. Why didn't they make sure that going to a place where there have been 4 previous deaths of pupils, young pupils, over the last couple of years, how is that place still open? How is that Nyati still taking kids when 4 learners previously have drowned, where learners going down a rapid river are do not have life jackets on? It's absolutely disgraceful conduct. It's shocking.
Have you discussed with the family, Mr. Levitt, how much you will be claiming, and will it be separate, and how much in each instance in that case?
So how it's done is as follows. A nominal amount will be put into the summons. Each person will, in a summons, it will be likely be the parents as well as the siblings, because they were there at the time that the body of their son and brother was found. They will be instituting action, and nominal amount will be put into the summons. In due course and over the period leading up to the trial, forensic psychological reports will be conducted and produced, because each person will obviously have their own individual grief and pain and suffering that they have undertaken and suffered, and the amounts will then be amended to incorporate the actual damages that they have suffered from a legal perspective. No one can ever obviously quantify the true grief that one has suffered at the loss of a child. So in answer to your question, there will be a nominal amount, and once the exact amount has been calculated, it will be amended to this amount.
And just finally, just a brief update on the family and how they are holding up at the moment, Mr. Levitt.
Not very well at all. We have a strong team. I have brought into the team one of the best psychologists in this country dealing with this type of grief and sadness. They are consulting at various stages with the psychologist undertaking this care. They're not in a good way at all, to say the very least.
Well, thank you so much. Ian Levitt is the legal representative of the late Enock Mpianzi's family, talking to us about the instruction to take legal action against those who acted reckless and negligently on the day that Enock Mpianzi died. And that brings us up to 8:30. It's time for your final news.